Welcome back to another episode of Living Purposely on Purpose with me, Coach Lin. This weekly podcast is where faith, mindset, and real life experiences help you to break through barriers and live the God-given life that God designed for you. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations about purpose, relationships, resilience, and personal growth to inspire you to live with intention. I hope you'll subscribe and join this transformative journey every single week. Today's episode, we have Mike, and he is a powerhouse entrepreneur who turned his pain into purpose, from surviving the foster care system and group homes to building his own successful tax company. Mike embodies resilience and determination. Despite a childhood marked by hardship, he refused to be a realist, to be a statistic, choosing instead to break cycles and build generational wealth. Now a dedicated father of two, he travels the world and lives by a mindset of strength, accountability, and relentless ambition. Get ready for a raw and powerful conversation about surviving, success, and what it truly means to live on purpose. So let's bring Mike on. So, welcome, Mike. Welcome to the podcast. I have been so looking forward to getting you on here. As you know, you're one of the first person I actually asked to come to the
Absolutely.
podcast.
Yep.
And we finally was able to get you on, and I'm
Mhm.
just so excited for you to share your story. You have a powerful story. You are
Yes.
a powerful, unique individual, and I can't wait for the listeners to hear, for you to just tell us a little bit about you so we can just get started. So why don't you kick us off with sharing who is Mike?
Uh, Myself, I am a entrepreneur, a father first, entrepreneur, a strong mental individual. You know,
I
just a good
do.
guy. Just a good guy, man. Just a good guy.
Yes, you're an
Strong
amazing
guy.
guy. You're an amazing
Mhm.
guy. Let's just get that straight.
Right.
Honestly, you're an amazing person. So I know some of your story, right?
Right.
And just share with us. You grew up surrounded by things that most people would end up, using as an excuse, as a
Absolutely.
crutch
Hmm.
to not motivate themselves. But
Right.
instead, you grew up surrounded by crime, addiction, instability. And what was the moment that you realized that this was not going to be your calling, your life?
When I start seeing my friends dying at a young age, around 15, 16, I started seeing my friends dying. I go back and hang out in the neighborhood and their names is on the wall. On the basketball court, they write their names on the wall, RIP such and such. And I start seeing my friends go to jail. And I start seeing my friends kill each other. So me as being a forward thinker, and I've always been a forward thinker since I was a youth. So I was like, listen, if I come back here, I'm gonna end up a drug dealer, dead or in jail.
Yeah, amazing. So how did you seeing that, you
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I know you told me that you were in the foster care system at
Yep.
7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and then from 7 to 10, and then you went into group homes.
Mm-hmm.
How did you growing up so young, how did that affect you? How did that change how you thought, your process?
Well, it taught me how to take care of myself, mentally, physically, you know, how to survive by myself, how to keep my own company. It's a lot of lonely days you spend by yourself and you there and you thinking, why me, you know, and, it was a lot of crying and a lot of depression, but that turned into motivation to be great, honestly,
Yeah.
be strong mentally. And that's pretty much it. I
So,
figured out at a young age that there's no one's going to come save you but yourself. So you got to put the work in.
right, right. Now I know you told me that a lot of the ambition that you gained, you attributed to seeing your mom, how she was ambitious,
Right.
but you said she lacked that focus,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So, how did that shape how you approach success?
Well, my mom, the good thing that my mom did, she always had us like for example, we would go to the projects and sell Italian ices, hot dogs. My mom would have, she built a candy store in front of the house. She had a fish market, but the thing is that none of this stuff lasted. But she showed us how to try and do something, how to try and create your own.
So your mom was the first entrepreneur that
Yeah,
you saw in your life.
absolutely. That's a positive. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids growing up in environments like yours, they get pulled into the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what kept you from going down that path?
I mean, learning how to think for yourself, learning how to maneuver certain situations, because there's a lot of times that my life could have been over in certain situations. But just know how to think. You got to learn how to think your way through things. You got to learn how to, weigh the pros and the cons and things. Like I told you, you know, my mom asked me, do I want to come home? I told her no, because I know what was going to happen when I come home. So, being a thinker first, figuring out things at a young age, like me staying focused on what I had going on inside the group home and where I saw myself, outside the group home. Because
Now,
I
how did
see.
you, sorry to cut you,
Okay.
but how did you end up in the group home?
It was a one time they came um, uh, to the house, and I think the water main broke in front of the house. There was no hot water, no water, and ACS. I think someone called ACS, and they came. So since I had prior, run-ins with the police and being bad at school, they figured that they put me in a group home instead of a foster home on the last time.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 12, going on 13.
12 years old.
Hmm.
And what was that experience like going in the group home for the first time?
Well, it was kind of easy for me because I've been through a lot before that. I've been in the neighborhood. I've been, in detention homes, so I pretty much knew what to do, what to expect.
So, for someone who doesn't know, what should they expect?
Mm, expect to get tested.
Okay.
Expect to, expected to be tested mentally because you in a house full of young men that's trying to figure out their way as well, and they don't know better, so they're going to test you, physically. They're going to test you mentally,
Yeah.
and you got to figure it out like at a young age, like where do you see your place, inside the home, inside the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Okay. So, is there a difference between a group home and a detention center?
Yes, detention center is more secure, like it's more less movement. Detention center, a non-secure detention center is a less kind of movement. You use like, no, I'm sorry. The non-secure detention home that I was in, it's like a group home, but it's more stricter. It's like you can't move out of like a outside the home. Like you can't go outside by yourself. But in a group home, you can go outside by yourself. You go play by yourself. You just got to come back. Oh, sorry.
Oh, so they have like a curfew.
Yeah, curfew. Yeah.
Okay. And how long were you in the group homes?
12 to 18.
12 to 18.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So, many people who come from that type of life background, right? They struggle with limiting beliefs,
Yes.
right? How did
Hmm.
you rewire your brain to not experience those limiting beliefs that tells you you're not good enough, you're not going to be able to do better, you're stuck in this system? How did you rewire your mind to not fall trap to that?
Mm, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Well, me personally, I look at other people and their mistakes. For instance, we would be in a group home, we be playing basketball, right? And you see other people come back to the group home and don't have nowhere to go. So
Mm.
me being a thinker again, say how can I maneuver my way outside the group home and not be that person that always comes back to the group home, but they don't have nowhere to go, you know?
Right. So
So I
you
mean, just
you
looking at
saw
other people, yeah, looking at other people. That's even when I was at home with my mom. I looked at my mom and saw the mistakes she was making. I looked at the drug dealers, saw the mistakes they were making. Looked at my friends and saw the mistakes they were making, and I just go from there.
So your mind works very solution oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of men that are real men, like alpha thinkers,
Mm-hmm.
that's how they think.
Yep.
They solution oriented.
I can't sit around and complain. My brain is not wired like that.
That's powerful. When we was talking, you said no doesn't mean no
Mm-hmm.
until it's over. How
Yes.
has that mindset shaped your success in business and life?
Well, in life, like you're going through hardship, and people going to count you out. Nobody believed that I'll be in this position right now. Like I wouldn't say family believed. I wouldn't say the staff at the group home believed. Like nobody really believed in me. So hearing the word, I got rejected a lot of times in life. So hearing the word no, it's only gonna give me motivation to go harder and accomplish what I need to accomplish. It's
Yeah.
not, and it's not to come back and say, "Oh, you didn't believe," because I wouldn't throw it in your face. But eventually, you're going to accomplish what you accomplish. Just straight off of consistency. Just straight off of consistency. If you have consistency, you have ambition, you have focusedness and tunnel vision. You're going to accomplish your goals eventually.
So consistency is like big
Yeah,
in
consistency is
completing
huge. Yeah,
in completing the mission, so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah. Like you got to have the will to win. You gotta have the will. That will is inside of me. That burns inside of me. That ambition burns inside of me. I gotta have affinity things I could look back on, like growing up or going through in life, or I could just pull from and say, "All right, cool. I gotta keep going."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, was there like a habit that was very hard for you to break to like get to this mindset that you have now?
Um, I still have habits. It's like it's nobody's perfect, but you know,
Or like
eventually,
one habit that
like
you probably had to overcome to propel you to, get into this point?
mm, it's a good question. It's like my fear of letting people win, my fear for asking for help. I
So you
feel
had to
like
overcome those.
had to overcome those things. Like it's like I just feel like I have to do everything myself. Like I can't depend on nobody. I depended on myself this far. I got to get myself further. So I have to get over that habit there. Working on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because to go to the next level, you have to have community as well.
Yes, and I accomplished all this stuff by myself. So if I had community, look how far I'll be.
Right. That's a great thing. I think someone listening to this who grew up with that mindset saying, I have to do everything by myself, I can't count on others, they're going to grab something from that because it is necessary.
And if you're listening to this, that comes from being disappointed a lot in life. Like you know,
Yeah.
like you're expecting something from your parents and you never get it. You're expecting something from others that you never get it. So you look within yourself to get whatever you're missing.
Yeah. That's true. I know that feeling. I've been there myself where I had to, if I didn't do it, I knew no one was going to help. So I
Absolutely.
had to move forward.
Absolutely.
But I learned, I'm quite older than you, believe it or not.
You got older than me.
I had to learn that in order for me to get to where I needed to go, I had to go with others. I got there quicker with others than I did by myself.
Right.
Yeah. So, let's talk about your tax business. Now,
Yes.
you started your tax business around 24, 25,
Mm-hmm.
and bought your first property at 26. What was the mindset shifts that you had to happen for you to make those moves?
Um. So let's fast forward before that. I
Yeah.
had my daughter. I had bad credit. I had to wait 7 years to fix my credit. And I told myself during that 7 years, once I fix my credit, I'm going to invest my money. So along that time, I started a tax company. I used to do people taxes for free, just to build clientele. And you know, my mindset is I want to be free. I want to not rely on a job or have someone have control over me. I just want to live freely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you start a tax company
Mm-hmm.
24, 25.
Yep.
Or you still work in a 9 to 5?
Yes. Was
Okay.
you asking? Do I still work a 9 to 5?
No, were you still working the 9 to 5
Oh,
while you were doing this?
yeah, yes, of course. Yes. Until eventually I stopped working at 9 to 5 and then I start, having my own money and I could rely on my investments and my tax company so I don't have to work anymore. But don't quit until you have everything set up. You
Yeah.
know. hmm
Now, what got you into taxes? Like,
Oh, a
were you
friend of
always,
mine.
always good at taxes? Like, how did you
No,
know
no,
that
no, no,
this?
no, 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 no. So my friend, her name is Kim. Come on, she's a Jamaican, and she's like, you should do taxes. You know a lot of people. You should do taxes. Brushed it off. Brushed it off. I said, all right, I'm not gonna do taxes. 1 year, I said, all right, let's do it. So she took me. We went to York College. She's a professor at York College. So I went to the course in York College. We used to stay after at the library on Jamaica Avenue. I think that's Queens Library. And I got my EFIN, got my EIN number, got my EFIN from the IRS, got my P10 from New York State, and I was rocking and rolling. And then the first year, I think I did like 20. I made a lot of mistakes. I had to call her, text her, like, "Oh, listen, I need help. I need help. I need help." But eventually, I got it. I start after year, I got better and better and better. Now I master it.
Wow.
But it was
Okay.
her. It was her idea. She said you should do it.
She saw something. She saw the
Yep.
potential of
Yep.
what you
And me.
could
Yep.
become.
Yep.
And how long have you been doing this tax company now?
Since 2016, I think, right? 2016, yeah.
Okay.
2016.
And it's like you got the EIN. So before you even, so as you're getting these clients, you
I used
have
to
the
work
vision
under
to
her.
say,
I used to work under her at first, and then I transitioned out of her into my own.
oh, I see.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And how do you promote it? Like, because
Oh,
I,
I have an Instagram, you know. Got an Instagram, make all this underscore tax underscore prep. Go follow that, and I word of mouth. Listen, I come to your house. I do your grandma, I do your aunt, I do your uncles, I do everybody in the house. Everybody get together, and then word of mouth. Everybody tells their cousins, he's good, he's good, he's good. He know how to do it. And his
yeah.
prices is good. And word of mouth now, almost over 100 people I do now.
So, you go to their house, you said?
Yes, I go to home visits free.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. If you have Wi-Fi, I'm coming to your house. I don't care where you live at.
I might have to hit you up next year.
Yeah, I come,
Okay.
I come right to your house. You got Wi-Fi? I do it right there. It takes 20 minutes.
Wow. Okay. Um, so I know you also, branched out from that into real
hmm
estate. How
Yep.
did that happen?
Just the will to win. That goes back to being a kid. That goes back to, relying on yourself, want to be a winner, not want to work, being smart, being a forward thinker, you know, and thinking your way out of situations. What can I do with this money besides try to show up in front of people, or what can I do? So I started investing my money.
Yeah. So what was the first property that you purchased?
I purchased a two-family home, 3 bedrooms up top, 3 bedrooms downstairs. I still have that. It was in Syracuse, New York, and I bought that house for I think 15,000. So I think it was
How?
12. I
How
think
do you
12.
buy a house for 15,000?
Luck, luck, luck.
Did you
God
research
was
like
God was
how?
on my side. But what I had to do is I had to build a foundation. I had to put the walls in. I had to put the windows in. I had to put everything in there for me to win. So what I did is I saved my tax money every year and took the bus 5 hours upstate to fix it, come back down, wait another year, 5 hours back up to fix it. Took me probably like 2.5, 2 years to fix this property, and then get it, a lot of credit card debt because I had to reset my credit cards and I got it done. And then I started
Yeah.
renting out. Yeah.
So how did you find the property? Teach
Uh,
someone who might be listening and want to say,
well, that property there, I got that from a guy that lived around the corner from my mom, and my mom was telling me he was selling it, so she put me in contact with him.
okay,
But if you want to buy a property that's already up and running, you need good credit. They have different programs, FHA, they have DSCR loans, they have other, you know, ways to buy properties. You need good credit. you know, and then you go get that pre-approval letter from your bank or whoever, and then you go and try to. First thing you got to go do is go check that property out, make sure the roof and the foundation is set. You can work on anything in between. So,
All right, well, I'm going to drop something in your spirit right now.
hmm
Write a short book on how to do
hmm
that. No, I'm serious, like a digital book.
right,
A
right,
digital book. Put that on your social media link and say,
yeah,
go grab this now,
right.
$17.
That's a
And
good. That's a
I will
good.
buy that book from you
Yeah.
right now.
I also thought about doing a little Amazon Kindle book. I don't know if that's a Kindle book. You know, I don't know if it's an Amazon Kindle try to write like a little book about my life a little bit.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah. Yeah.
Kindle Direct
Yeah,
Publishing.
Kindle Direct. Yeah, write a little bit of like a look off beat thing about my life. Not all the way real, but you know.
Yeah, that's how I published this book right here, KDP.
Oh, nice. Do Kindle?
Yeah, I did it through KDP, Kindle Direct
Oh,
Publishing. That's my
yeah.
book.
Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna try to go that route. Try to, I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and try to do something new. Yeah.
You should. You
Yeah,
should.
that's why I did this podcast out of my comfort zone.
That's right. I tell you, you just need one
Yeah.
step and it's like just
Yeah.
keeps the ball keep rolling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
You have so much knowledge, and knowledge is
Mhm.
power.
Yeah.
People will pay for that knowledge. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And a lot of
So
them, I have a lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom is going through trial and tribulation. So I could, pass
absolutely.
as well.
So what advice would you give to someone who's stuck in a job but afraid to take the leap into entrepreneurship?
I would say the first thing you would do is you would do money management. You know how to manage your money first. You know, write down all your bills. Write down what's coming in, what's going out. Um, Once you got money management under control, you will fix your credit. Then you will leverage your credit to try to invest in whatever your passion is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first step would be to learn how to manage the money.
A lot
And
of
if
people
your
doesn't.
credit is
Mhm.
not good, then
Right.
fix that up.
That's why you see basketball players go broke, and you see all these NFL players go broke because they don't have money management. It doesn't matter if it's 100,000 or 100 million. If you don't know how to manage your money correctly, you're gonna be, messed up. So if you work a 9 to 5 and you could create a side hustle, you got to have tunnel vision, you have discipline, and know how to, put money aside, have a goal, and stay focused. Like it's all about it's all about discipline. If you have a goal, you have to be disciplined on your goal. You can't, you could pivot, but just focus on your goal. Discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you learn that at such a young age?
I don't know. It's just in me. It's in me. It's in me. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
know you told me you're a forward thinker.
Yeah, forward.
What does forward thinker look like to you?
A forward thinker is thinking not about this paycheck or not about this month rent. What's coming down the line 2 months from now? What's coming down the line 3 months from now? Is someone leases up? Is someone? Do you have to fix something or something? Do you know, a bill that's coming up? You have to think forward, or you have an idea. After tax season, I'm going to start a, uh, a staffing company. That's being a forward thinker. I have to put this in place first, and then I get my new business. But it's just being a forward thinker, having the ability to look down the line, not just for tomorrow, but further down, and see what's coming.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that you're starting this staffing company,
Hmm.
right? In the next couple months.
Yeah.
What inspired this move and what's your vision for it? What's your vision for this staffing company?
My vision is to, create jobs for people, probably like people in the neighborhoods, people that's hard to find jobs. Try to find a way out. But why I wanted to start a staffing company is because I want to challenge myself. I love challenging myself. That's how I push myself forward. I you push yourself forward by challenging yourself. You're gonna get a storefront, or you're gonna say I'm gonna do something. Now can't go backwards. You gotta go do what you said. So you gotta challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's so needed right now because so many people are having a hard time to find jobs. So I hope you
Mhm.
do start it up like soon because it's so necessary.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
That's something I'm
So, what's the biggest financial lesson that you learned when starting your business and investing in real estate? What was the biggest financial lesson that you learned when
my
doing
credit,
it?
how to manage my credit, how to manage my credit. My credit is the most important thing you could do in this country. You know, if you have good credit, opens so many doors.
Yeah.
So, you know, how to manage and use your credit to your advantage. That's the main thing I would, do over.
Now, if someone is starting a business, should they start it sole proprietorship or another way?
It depends on how big your business is. If you have a small business like doing nails and stuff like that, sole proprietorship, you put under your 1040 and you go into Schedule C. But if you have a big aspirations for your business and you want to be worldwide and you have a CEO, president, CFO, COO, you want to do S corp or C corp.
S corp or C corp?
Yeah.
Okay. And what
And
would
then you
what?
could then you could pay yourself, and then you pay everyone else, and stuff like that.
Okay, so it depends on the vision that they have
The
for
division,
the
yeah.
company.
Yeah. But if it's
Okay.
something small, like you do here and there, and you do nails here and there, you do sole proprietorship, put on your 1040, and go about your business.
Okay.
Make sure you keep your receipts so you can write it off.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what I need to do more of.
Yeah,
Keeping those receipts, they're
that's the
hard.
hardest part. That's the
And you,
hardest.
that is hard.
QuickBooks. You can have QuickBooks. You can have Microsoft Excel. Just plugging in numbers.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have QuickBooks, but I think I need to learn to use it.
yeah.
I'm not good at it, Mike. I'm sorry. So, you've said you felt like God was there with you through it all. Was there a
Yes.
defining moment where you knew that God had his hand over your life?
Yeah. I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but it's just like at a young age, going through everything I went through, like I survived it with God. I always prayed to Him, and I survived everything. Like even if I doubted myself, I never He kept protecting me. Like, it's like a shield. Like you have a shield over you. You walk with a glow and a shield. It's like certain things never happened to me. Like he's just protecting me. Like it's like a little superpower I have or something. I don't know what to call it, but he always protected me. Always protected me. Always protected me.
Yeah. See, I believe that God
Oh,
sees.
always got me out of situations.
Yeah. I think that sometimes men look at the outward appearance, but the Bible says God looks at your heart. And
Yes.
he saw your heart. He saw what was in there.
Mhm.
So he kept you through it all.
Yes.
Um,
I believe I walk with God. Yep.
what would you say to someone who says you don't need God to be successful? You can be successful without him.
What would I say to them? He sound like an atheist to me. I don't know. what can you
Yes.
tell? What can you tell an atheist? I don't know. I would say, listen, it doesn't matter what you believe in. I mean, it does matter what you believe. I'm sorry, but just believe in yourself. If you don't believe in God, cool. Have the ability to believe in yourself and to overcome, things. When it's not going the right way. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you don't have that belief in
Yeah,
yourself,
you have to have self belief. Yeah.
yeah, that is definitely because we are image bearers, first of all. So we bear
Right.
the image of God. So if we don't even believe in ourselves, then
Right.
already
Right.
failed, right?
Yep.
Okay.
But I walk with God, so anything I do, man, I bring him with me.
So, looking back at everything that you've overcome, do you feel like you're walking in your purpose now, or is there still more that you want to do?
It's more that I want to do. I want to give back to the community. I want to start. I did a coat drive once. I think it's like 2017. Like right after I started making a little bit of money, I did a coat drive in Brownsville. But I want to do more things like that. Back to school. Book bags, books. You know, probably talking to the youth inside the group homes and the detention homes, but I gotta get out. I gotta get out of my comfort zone, and just tell people if I can make it, you can make it.
Now, you told me that having your daughter change your focus, right?
Hmm.
What's the most important lesson that you want to pass down to your children that you never got growing up?
Accountability, responsibility, focus and determination.
Yeah,
But
powerful
it's not
thing.
going to be easy because they didn't live the same life as me. But I also preach accountability, responsibility with education. We must have an education. I'm not going to let you, fail yourself. So yeah, I practice accountability and responsibility when it comes to education.
How old are they now?
15 turn 16 and 10 turn 11.
Wow,
Hmm.
you really did have them young.
Yes, I did.
I'm just, I'm like doing the math in my head, like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a blessing. Children
Mhm.
are a blessing, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, how do you navigate parenting when you didn't have that solid blueprint of what a father should look like?
Mm, I know what I wanted.
Yeah,
You know, um, I just know what I wanted. I know how I wanted to feel. I had a lot of stepfathers, but they came and went. I used to get even. Let me tell you something. I used to get mad when I used to see other people with fathers, and I used to get really angry, like why I don't have that, or when I was younger. But it's just pretty much, like I knew what I wanted. I know how I wanted to raise my kids. I knew how I wanted to be raised, but I didn't have the opportunity to be raised that way. But I knew what I wanted.
yeah. I know that feeling because that's kind of like how I raised my son,
Hmm.
Sam. Like the things that I didn't get growing up, I made sure that I poured those stuff into him as
Right,
well.
right.
So even if you don't have like a mom and a dad
Hmm.
always there, because I know I lost my father. I didn't lose him, but I mean, we left the house when I was like 11 going on 12. So being not having that father in the house
Right.
definitely changed, how I
Yeah.
thought of things as well.
Right.
So how does thriving look like to you?
I also
Oftentimes,
wanted. I'm sorry to go back. I'm sorry. I also wanted to create stability inside my house. Like you're going to see me every week, and you're going to see me cook for you. You're going to see me help you with homework, and I'm going to be consistent in your life. Like it's no that I see daddy this week and I see daddy that week. No, you're going to see me every week, every week.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fathers, that's so necessary because as a young girl who didn't have that, I can tell you it means a lot.
Yes, it means a lot. It means a lot. From a you teaching her from a man's perspective, and one thing I learned, raising girls, that you have to be soft and you have to listen. I had to
Yeah.
learn that the hard way. Yeah.
So I know a lot of times we talked about, a lot of the surviving that you had to go through.
Right.
How does thriving look like to you?
Thriving.
Thriving, yes.
Man, me on the south of France on a boat. Without a care in the world. Me, my kids, my girlfriend, and we are on the south of France and we are chilling
That's nice.
with no
That's nice.
care in the world. I know people get, too caught up in, their jobs and don't get a chance to live life. I think God gave me a chance to live life the way I wanted to live life.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's amazing. So, I know you travel a lot. Where have you
Yes.
been? I know you've been to
Oh.
Dubai, but where else?
Well, I've been to Israel. I've been to Jordan. I've been to Kenya. I've been to Zanzibar, Morocco. I've been a lot of places. Egypt.
Wow.
Places, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
one
did
thing
you feel?
I wanted to see the world for myself. Like you hear what you see. You see what you see in the history books. But I wanted to see it for myself. Like I want to feel it. I want to touch it. I want to learn.
So,
Yeah.
what lessons have you learned from the different cultures that you visited about wealth and success and happiness?
Well, it's a lot more good people in the world than bad people. I learned that. It's like it's a lot of people in the world that just want to take care of their family and have a good job and pretty much, live a good life. And don't believe the media, man. The media will have you scared of the world. Just
That's
go
true.
out, yeah, go out and see it for yourself and feel it for yourself, and come back with your own determination.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, what does living on purpose mean to you, and how do you apply that principle to your life every single day?
man, living on purpose is being a core, solid individual. If you are principle bound, your morals are in place. I mean, pretty much everything will set itself up. So if you are a good individual, you know, I feel like that will set you up to be the way you want to live.
Yeah. So, is there one thing as we wrap up? Is there one thing that you want to like share with the listeners on how to navigate life and you know, becoming more focused on your dreams and goals? How do
Right.
they do that?
You know, you have to choose your heart. You can stay in the place you are at now and let it be hard, or you're going to chase your dreams and let that be hard. Which one
Choose
you
your
want? Choose your heart. So you know, you gotta have the will to want it. You gotta have the determination to want it. You have to have the mind to think ahead. I mean, sometimes you have bills right in front of you, and it's hard to get past those bills and what you see in front of you. But if you could think ahead, a forward thinker, you'll be okay.
yeah. I think being a forward thinker sometimes for people is hard because they're
It's hard.
so focused
Caught up
on
into the
what's happening
right.
today and
Yep.
in this moment. And
Yep.
especially if they're struggling, especially if they're finding it hard to overcome and be an overcomer,
Right.
they're so focused on that they can't see
Right.
to
Out.
look ahead.
And that comes from credit card debt. That comes from too much bills. That comes from not managing your money correctly. That comes from stress from family. That comes from a lot of things. You gotta have a clear mind. Once you have a clear mind, you are set. You have to clear your mind. Anything you do in life, you have to clear your mind and set that goal you want, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. So I
Uh-huh.
just have two more questions and then I'm going to let you go. So the final two questions I have is looking at everything that you've built, right? From your business to even your mindset. What's the legacy that you want to leave behind, both as a father and as an entrepreneur?
I mean, the entrepreneur is not really. I don't know. People are going to have their own dreams and aspirations. You can sell everything once I leave. But I want to leave this earth being a good father. That's
Yeah,
um, that's number one. I want my kids to know who I am, how strong he was, and how he took care of us when I leave. That's it.
that's good. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. So no pressure on them, basically. You just want them to know that you were their father, you were good for them, and you treated them well and they felt
Yep.
loved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yourself, everything else is material things. They're gonna come and go, and I can instill the how to teach them how to get it. Because you can teach somebody to fish. You got to teach them how to fish, not just to give it to them. So you got to teach them how to fish. So I'll teach them how to fish while I'm here, and everything else is up to you.
Amen. Okay. So for someone listening right now who feels stuck in their
Hmm.
circumstances,
Hmm.
unsure if they can break out and create that success that
Right.
you so, buoyantly built in your own life, what's
Hmm.
the one piece of advice that you would give to them to shift their mindset today?
One piece of advice. It's a good question. I have so many things running through my head. One piece of advice that I would give someone.
Yeah. They
Um.
feel stuck. They feel like, they're struggling. They don't know how to get out of that mindset. And you've done it.
Mhm.
You've gotten to that mindset. How can give them one advice that can help them to break free?
Mm. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah,
Don't be too hard on yourself. Everybody's gonna commit mistakes. You're gonna commit mistakes, but don't be too hard on yourself. That's what I
amen.
was.
All right. Well, you heard him say it, guys. Do not be too hard on yourself. Life happens sometimes, and you have to rise above it. So I, I'm just glad that he was able to come on and share his story. I think we lost him. Mike, I think we lost. Well, that was it. God is an amazing God because we were able to wrap up the podcast. And just as I think his Wi Fi died on him. So he was able to answer the questions and we ended up just closing out a really good time with him today, and I'm just so glad you guys were able to hear his amazing story. So that's a wrap for today. This episode of Living Purposely on Purpose went really amazing, and I'm sure that you guys got a lot from the conversation. It challenged us, it inspired us to keep walking in our God given purpose. If this episode blessed you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Not tomorrow, today. Just press that send button and send it to someone who needs to hear it, because many of us are going through those things where this information is necessary. So remember, purpose isn't something that you find, it's something that you live. Keep pushing forward, keep trusting God, and I'll see you next week for another powerful episode of Living Purposely on Purpose. You stay in purpose and have a blessed week ahead.